Language Foundations Vocabulary Flashcards, helping you achieve understanding.
The act of making something different, as e.g. the size of a garment. An event that occurs when something passes from one state or phase to another. The neighborhood had undergone few modifications since his last visit years ago. The grammatical relation that exists when a word qualifies the meaning of the phrase. Slightly modified copy, not an exact copy. A modification of last year's model. The act of making something different, as e.g. the size of a garment. An amount added or deducted on the basis of qualifying circumstances. The process of adapting to something, such as environmental conditions. The act of adjusting something to match a standard. Making or becoming suitable. Adjusting to circumstances. The act of making something different, as e.g. the size of a garment. An event that occurs when something passes from one state or phase to another. The act of revising or altering, involving reconsideration and modification. Lay aside, abandon, or leave for another. The car changed lanes. Cause to change, make different, cause a transformation. The discussion has changed my thinking about the issue. Exchange or replace with another, usually of the same kind or category. He changed his name. An event that occurs when something passes from one state or phase to another. The change was intended to increase sales. Become different in some particular way, without permanently losing one's or its former characteristics or essence. Her mood changes in accordance with the weather. Give to, and receive from, one another. Would you change places with me? Become deeper in tone. His voice began to change when he was 12 years old. Change from one vehicle or transportation line to another. She changed in Chicago on her way to the East Coast. A difference that is usually pleasant. It is a refreshing change to meet a woman mechanic. A different or fresh set of clothes. She brought a change in her overnight bag. A relational difference between states, especially between states before and after some event. He attributed the change to their marriage. A thing that is different. He inspected several changes before selecting one. Change clothes. Put on different clothes. Coins of small denomination regarded collectively. He had a pocketful of change. Money received in return for its equivalent in a larger denomination or a different currency. He got change for a 20 and used it to pay the taxi driver. Remove or replace the coverings of. Father had to learn how to change the baby. The action of changing something. The change of government had no impact on the economy. The balance of money received when the amount you tender is greater than the amount due. I paid with a 20 and pocketed the change. The result of alteration or modification. There were marked changes in the lining of the lungs. Undergo a change. Become different in essence, losing one's or its original nature. She changed completely as she grew older. Restricting the scope or freedom of action. The grammatical relation that exists when a word qualifies the meaning of the phrase. Strictly limiting the reference of a modified word or phrase. Success in satisfying a test or requirement. The grammatical relation that exists when a word qualifies the meaning of the phrase. An event that happens. Presently occurring, either causally or incidentally. Technical terms are rarely occurrent in literature. An event that happens. An event that happens. An instance of something occurring. A disease of frequent occurrence. An event that happens. A linguistic relation established by grammar. A reproduction of a written record, e.g. of a legal or school record. Matter to be printed, exclusive of graphical materials. Reproduce or make an exact copy of. Copy the genetic information. Make a replica of. Copy that drawing. Reproduce someone's behavior or looks. Children often copy their parents or older siblings. A thing made to be similar or identical to another thing. She made a copy of the designer dress. Copy down as is. The students were made to copy the alphabet over and over. Material suitable for a journalistic account. Catastrophes make good copy. The act of making something less tight. An occurrence of control or strength weakening. The loosening of his grip. The elimination of fecal waste through the anus. The act of making something less tight. The act of making something tighter. The tightening of economic controls. The process of adapting to something, such as environmental conditions. A written work, as a novel, that has been recast in a new form. The play is an adaptation of a short novel. Physiology. The responsive adjustment of a sense organ, as the eye, to varying conditions, as of light. Making or becoming suitable. Adjusting to circumstances. A settlement of differences. They reached an accommodation with Japan. In the theories of Jean Piaget, the modification of internal representations in order to accommodate a changing knowledge of reality. Living quarters provided for public convenience. Overnight accommodations are available. Physiology. The automatic adjustment in focal length of the natural lens of the eye. The act of providing something, lodging or seed or food, to meet a need. Adjust the pitches of musical instruments. My piano needs to be tuned. Adjust for better functioning. Tune the engine. A succession of notes forming a distinctive sequence. The adjustment of a radio receiver or other circuit to a required frequency. The property of producing accurately a note of a given pitch. He cannot sing in tune. The termination or disintegration of a relationship, between persons or nations. Coming apart. Genetics. Any event that changes genetic structure. Any alteration in the inherited nucleic acid sequence of the genotype of an organism. A spiritual enlightenment causing a person to lead a new life. An event that results in a transformation. A change in the units or form of an expression. Conversion from Fahrenheit to centigrade. A change of religion. His conversion to the Catholic faith. Act of exchanging one type of money or security for another. A successful free throw or try for point after a touchdown. Interchange of subject and predicate of a proposition. Psychiatry. A defense mechanism represses emotional conflicts which are then converted into physical symptoms that have no organic basis. The act of changing from one use or function or purpose to another. Law. The cessation of cohabitation of man and wife, either by mutual agreement or under a court order. Coming apart. The distance between things. Fragile items require separation and cushioning. Sorting one thing from others. The separation of wheat from chaff. The act of dividing or disconnecting. The social act of separating or parting company. The separation of church and state. The space where a division or parting occurs. He hid in the separation between walls. The state of lacking unity. The termination of employment, by resignation or dismissal. A forcible tearing or surgical separation of one body part from another. An abrupt change in the course of a stream that forms the boundary between two parcels of land, resulting in the loss of part of the land of one landowner and a consequent increase in the land of another. The process of giving birth. The event of being born. They celebrated the birth of their first child. The kinship relation of an offspring to the parents. Cause to be born. A baby born, an offspring. The overall rate of incidence of Down syndrome is 1 in every 800 births. The time when something begins, especially life. They divorced after the birth of the child. Tennis. A score consisting of winning a game when your opponent was serving. He was up 2 breaks in the second set. Breaking of hard tissue such as bone. The break seems to have been caused by a fall. Enter someone's virtual or real property in an unauthorized manner, usually with the intent to steal or commit a violent act. Be released or become known, of news. Fail to agree with. Be in violation of, as of rules or patterns. An act of delaying or interrupting the continuity. It was presented without commercial breaks. Lessen in force or effect. Break a fall. An escape from jail. The breakout was carefully planned. Interrupt a continued activity. Force out or release suddenly and often violently something pent up. Break into tears. Any frame in which a bowler fails to make a strike or spare. The break in the 8th frame cost him the match. Go to pieces. Ruin completely. Act in disregard of laws, rules, contracts, or promises. Break a law. Become fractured. Break or crack on the surface only. Do a break dance. Kids were break dancing at the street corner. Prevent completion. Break off the negotiations. Become separated into pieces or fragments. Make known to the public information that was previously known only to a few people or that was meant to be kept a secret. Terminate. Break a lucky streak. Surpass in excellence. Break a record. Discontinue an association or relation. Go different ways. The act of breaking something. The breakage was unavoidable. Happen. Break down, literally or metaphorically. A pause from doing something, as work. We took a 10-minute break. Stop operating or functioning. Fracture a bone of. Reduce to bankruptcy. My daughter's fancy wedding is going to break me. Assign to a lower position. Reduce in rank. Geology. A crack in the Earth's crust resulting from the displacement of one side with respect to the other. Break a piece from a whole. Break a branch from a tree. Make submissive, obedient, or useful. The horse was tough to break. A time interval during which there is a temporary cessation of something. Move away or escape suddenly. Nobody can break out. This prison is high security. A personal or social separation, as between opposing factions. They hoped to avoid a break in relations. Some abrupt occurrence that interrupts an ongoing activity. There was a break in the action when a player was hurt. Destroy the completeness of a set of related items. The book dealer would not break the set. Cease an action temporarily. Let's break for lunch. An unexpected piece of good luck. He finally got his big break. An abrupt change in the tone or register of the voice, as at puberty or due to emotion. Then there was a break in her voice. A sudden dash. He made a break for the open door. Be broken in. If the new teacher won't break, we'll add some stress. Become punctured or penetrated. Cause the failure or ruin of. This play will either make or break the playwright. Cause to give up a habit. Change direction suddenly. Change suddenly from one tone quality or register to another. Come forth or begin from a state of latency. Come into being. Come to an end. Crack. Of the male voice in puberty. His voice is breaking, he should no longer sing in the choir. Curl over and fall apart in surf or foam, of waves. Destroy the integrity of, usually by force, cause to separate into pieces or fragments. Diminish or discontinue abruptly. Emerge from the surface of a body of water. Exchange for smaller units of money. I had to break a $100 bill just to buy the candy. Fall sharply. Find a flaw in. Break an alibi. Find the solution or key to. Break the code. Give up. Break cigarette smoking. Happen or take place. Things have been breaking pretty well for us in the past few months. Interrupt the flow of current in. Break a circuit. Invalidate by judicial action. Make a rupture in the ranks of the enemy or one's own by quitting or fleeing. Make the opening shot that scatters the balls. Pierce or penetrate. Render inoperable or ineffective. Scatter or part. Separate from a clinch, in boxing. The occurrence of breaking. The break in the dam threatened the valley. The opening shot that scatters the balls in billiards or pool. Undergo breaking. Vary or interrupt a uniformity or continuity. Weaken or destroy in spirit or body. A decrease in rate of change. Used of wines and waters, charged naturally or artificially with carbon dioxide. Sparkling wines. A rapid change in brightness, a brief spark or flash. Shining with brilliant points of light like stars. Sparkling snow. Chemistry. A change directly from the solid to the gaseous state without becoming liquid. Psychology. Modifying the natural expression of an impulse or instinct, especially a sexual one, to one that is socially acceptable. The act of surprising someone. Attack by storm. Attack suddenly. A sudden unexpected event. Cause to be surprised. The news really surprised me. Come upon or take unawares. She surprised the couple. The astonishment you feel when something totally unexpected happens to you. The act of changing in form or shape or appearance. A qualitative change. A rule describing the conversion of one syntactic structure into another related syntactic structure. Genetics. Modification of a cell or bacterium by the uptake and incorporation of exogenous DNA. Mathematics. A function that changes the position or direction of the axes of a coordinate system. An event that results in a transformation. A musical passage moving from one key to another. The act of passing from one state or place to the next. A change from one place or state or subject or stage to another. A passage that connects a topic to one that follows. Cause to convert or undergo a transition. The company had to transition the old practices to modern technology. Make or undergo a transition, from one state or system to another. The airline transitioned to more fuel-efficient jets.
Become our student and get access to effective and free educational materials. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to become a part of our growing YouTube community and to learn English effectively.